Google offers a lot of different ad products, and especially when you are an e-commerce entrepreneur, sometimes you may get confused, like what should I use right now, which is the best traffic source for me, the best Google Ads products. Most of you guys probably always think about Google Shopping, and yes, that's extremely powerful, but you need to know which are the ad products out there and when to use them, as well as how to use them. So in this video, I want to present to you the 4 Google Ads products for e-com store owners compared. Now, probably you know all of them, I assume you do, but I want to give you the ranking and the hierarchy so that you know when to use what. This being said, what are the 4 main ad products? Well, as I said, you know them. First of all, we have, of course, Google Shopping. Then we have Google Search. Some refer to it as Google AdWords, but technically it's like Google Search now. Then we have the Google Display Network, and ultimately we also have YouTube. Some people, again, in this case, they put the Display Network and YouTube together. I personally always like to split the two so that I know exactly what I'm talking about, like video ads and display image ads, right? And I want to start, as I said, with this hierarchy. So the Google Ads eCom hierarchy, specifically for e-commerce businesses, because else, for example, Google Shopping, of course, isn't even useful for you, or you cannot even use it. And in this Google Ads eCom hierarchy, Google Shopping is already the very first. So when you have an e-commerce business, then, Google Shopping is very easy to test. It's hard to master, so it's hard to really get the maximum out of it, to crush your competitors and to know when to use which bidding strategy, optimize your feed, how to use smart shopping, all that stuff. It's not easy to master, but it's easy to get started and also to make some first initial sales, at least if you have the right products, right? So very easy to test, and basically for e-commerce business owner, it's a no-brainer. Why is it a no-brainer? Well, because it's super easy to test, and also because it typically has the highest conversions because of images, prices, and titles. So if someone gets on Google and looks up a product and you place your product right there, they click on your ad with prices and images and titles, they are very, very qualified. Of course, still, sometimes you may get like 200 clicks without a sale or something like that, but this often means that your ads are just not great, or your landing page needs some more improvement, and so on and so forth. Generally, Google Shopping ads are super, super effective. They are a no-brainer, and they are very easy to get started with as an e-commerce business owner, even if you if you haven't learned about them for months or something, right? Also, they offer great web value also for low budgets. With many ad products, you have the problem that you need a lot of money to test. On Facebook, you need to test all these audiences, you need to test your video ads and all that kind of stuff. It takes a while until you have this winning combination, right? And for many, many other ad products, that's the case. With Google Shopping, even with low budget, as low as like $200-300, you can actually make first sales and do pretty well already if you do some things right, okay? So that's the first ad product, the most important one for e-commerce business owners in my opinion. Then the second kind of level on the hierarchy is search. Now, Google Search is the second lowest hanging fruit, and it still has buying intent, which means it still has an advantage over Facebook ads, but also over the display network, for example, because people are actively looking for something, right? If you're looking for a dog necklace, which I always use as an example for some reason, I don't know why. But if you're looking for a dog necklace, you are much more likely to buy one than if you are just a dog owner, which I target, right? If I go on Facebook, hey, you are a dog owner, do you want to buy that dog bracelet or that dog necklace or whatever, or that dog product basically? You may be interested because of your identity, because you like dogs, because you have a dog, but you're not actively looking for a dog product right now, which is what Google Search and Google Shopping essentially do. So sure, there are advantages and disadvantages for that, but in this case, for e-commerce in general, most of the time, that's a very, very big advantage. Also, you can link people to individual pages on your website. The problem with shopping is, well, not really the problem, but you're limited with shopping because you always send people to your product page. You have very little control of what you do. With search, you can send them to your homepage, to a collection page, to your About Us page if you want, to your blog, to your product page, whatever you want. And by doing that, you can, have very in-depth strategies. For example, with many of my clients, we have a full kind of strategy where we send some people to that page, some people to that page. We test the different destinations, and sometimes literally other pages than the product page do much, much better. Generally, as I said, you have more control than on shopping, not only because of the destinations, but also because you can define keywords actively, like you can define what you want to rank for. You can use extensions on your ad. You can make them appear bigger. You can test a whole bunch of things. You can use them with low budgets as well. Similar to shopping, you need slightly higher budgets in my opinion, because you won't make sales that quickly usually, but still the budgets are fairly low. All in all, I can say Google search is just more creative. You can just be more creative there. You can form a text ad. You can talk about a whole different things. You know, I've probably written over 1,000 texts, easily 1,000 text ads or more on Google so far. And I always come up with some completely new things. So you can test so many different things with search ads, and sometimes you stumble upon something that gives you like a 15% click-through rate and still gives you very, very cheap sales. So that's amazing. And if that's something that you cannot really do with shopping, because it's very static and you don't have that much control. And now we get to number 3, which is YouTube. And you could argue about YouTube and display, which of them is number 3, but I would actually say that YouTube should be the thing that you try third. So it has crazy potential, right? So people miss out on that. Probably out of all the people I've coached so far, 95% haven't used YouTube yet. Out of all the clients I've worked so far, 90% haven't used YouTube yet, right? So almost all the people I've worked with in one way or another didn't use YouTube. And I have to admit that in most of my e-commerce businesses so far, I didn't use it either, because sometimes you just don't want to create video ads. You're too lazy. You don't want to spend that much money on it. It's just not as easy and smooth as running a simple search or shopping ad, but it has amazing potential. And ads tend to have extremely low cost per views. So I mentioned that a lot of times on this channel, I regularly get cost per views of less than 1 cent. So meaning someone who watches my video ad for 30 seconds or more costs me less than 1 cent, which is insane, because this person now is pretty interested in the business. They are pretty likely to watch the ad through or click on the page or something like that. And it's much lower than on Facebook, at least most of the time. Of course, there are exceptions, but Facebook video tends to be more expensive and more saturated. So YouTube is less saturated. Almost no one in e-commerce is using it right now. The whole dropshipping community is over there on Facebook, battling each other with crazy video ads and all that stuff. Here, it's just easier. They are non-skippable, which is also great. So if you tried search and shopping and now you want to try something else, try YouTube ads. Create an ad that captures the attention in the first 5 seconds because they're non-skippable, and then introduce people to the product in the following 25 seconds, because only after second number 30 you pay something for that view. So if you manage to filter all the irrelevant people out previously, that's amazing, and you can get very relevant, cheap views with YouTube. You have the option to use awesome placements and targeting. So sure, the targeting in general is less specific, less narrow than on Facebook, where you have all these options available. But the great thing about YouTube ads is that you can target channels, you can target videos, you can target search behavior. So you can go ahead and target people based on what they searched for on Google, and then target them on YouTube. So even though it's not as crazy what you can do in terms of targeting that on Facebook, you still have amazing targeting options that many people actually don't really know about. So very powerful. Make sure that you try YouTube if you have the capacity, especially if you have tried search and shopping before. This should be your number 3. And then last one in the hierarchy is display. And honestly, display, at least for non-retargeting, right? So for retargeting, sure, always try display network because it might work very well for your retargeting. But I'm talking about cold ads. I'm talking about cold audiences, delivering ads on a display network to cold audiences. It's not that easy. So it's the hardest to work with as an e-commerce store, at least based on my experience. I've spent well over $1 million on Google Ads completely. And throughout the whole time and throughout the whole budget, display ads were always performing the worst. They have a very low CTR because of banner blindness. When you go on a website and you have ads left and right and everywhere, some of them are Google ads, many of them, in fact, some of them are other ads, native ads and all that stuff. It's just that over time people develop this banner blindness where you just automatically subconsciously ignore those ads, whereas on Facebook, even though it kind of starts now there too, based on what I kind of heard and observed, but with traditional banners it's just crazy. So as long as you don't have a super creative outstanding banner, or you like the person knows you already, they will just mostly ignore it. CTRs will be very low, and you need a lot of experimenting before finding a winning combination. So winning combination meaning audience, placement, and ads, and probably also like destination or product or something. But the point is, you need this experimentation before you can really run a successful display ad. Almost no display ad will work well straight away, so you need a budget. And if you just have $200-300 as an e-commerce business owner, you are definitely better off starting with shopping, search, even maybe YouTube, but with a small budget, do me a favor and start with shopping and search. It will be the best for you. However, you can use it with new visual products. So let's say you have a very visual product that not many people are looking for actively. I've had this with a ton of clients, that they had products that people don't search for yet because they're so new, but they're looking very cool and special. In this case, display network can work great if you have, as I said, the budget to try and the capacity to create all these ads, right? And what I also have to say, they have massive scaling potential later on. So as soon as you have this winning combination, you invested the time and money, at some point when it works well, you can really scale them up, because you're not looking for people that are searching your stuff right now. You literally have a massive cold audience, and if you have a funnel that works, if you have a campaign that works well, that you just can scale, you can go to $100, $200, $500, $1,000 a day in ad spend relatively quickly, at least if your audience is big enough in general. And from there, you can really scale it up. But as I said, it's just the hardest to work with. So yeah, these were the 4 Google Ad products specifically for you as an e-commerce entrepreneur, as an e-commerce business owner. And as I said, it's a matter of budget and time and stage you're in. So all products can work well, but it's really, depending on your budget, you should start with shopping. Most of the time you should start with shopping, then search, then try YouTube, and then display. So they can all be cool, but if you have a limited budget, you always have to make sure that you're using the most, promising, the lowest hanging fruit for your own business. And guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you got something out of it here today. Probably you knew most of the stuff already if you have dealt with Google Ads before, but still, I hope that you got some new insights and value out of this video here. If you want to learn more, make sure to subscribe to this channel, where I share a lot of Google Ads tactics, e-commerce, dropshipping, and all that stuff to take your business to the next level. And if you want to get one step further, make sure to check the link in the description, where you can find all the rest that I also offer, which is working with you one-on-one, my Instagram account, and just some more links and resources that you can use for your business. So make sure to check the link in the description. You will get some more information about how to crazily grow your e-commerce business. Now, this being said, thanks a lot for watching. I'm really looking forward to see you in the next video again. And now I wish you all the best with your business. Bye-bye.